How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Finally got my jungle clear video for you, so I hope you guys are excited for this one. Before we get started, I'm just going to cover runes quickly. This is the page I suggest you run if you're just starting out. I think it's a lot of fun. I think you'll have a lot of fun playing it. You can swap that to Phase Rush if you prefer, but I think this will pretty much get you through all your early starting games. If you want to swap to something a bit more autopilot, where you don't have to really interact with it that much, take this page instead and take this as your secondary. I think this one here will be a lot more familiar from all your Yorick mains that transitioning from top lane to jungle. But if you want to take a bit more aggression early, you can instead run Halo Blades and take this page instead. I think taking Cut Down and Legend Haste is extremely valuable though. So that's why I tend to prefer a bit more damage, a bit more aggression, and a little bit more late game by running the Arcane Comet and relying on maiden drops later. Just a bit of a FYI though, if you're going to switch this to attack speed, you might have to change your Qs a little bit when you're clearing the jungle, because the clears you're about to see are reliant on having an extra AD, extra 5 AD at level 1. So you just might need to keep an eye on your Qs and your Q damage and make sure you get the last hits, because if you don't leave the grave, you won't raise a ghoul and that'll screw up your jungle clears. But without further ado, let's get started. The way you want to do it is whenever you start, you always auto-queue the biggest wolf, okay? So you see this one here? You auto-queue the biggest wolf. Now, the important thing is you want to kite it up, okay? When your Q comes back, auto-queue it again. All right. Once you've auto-queued it twice, you're going to attack it to get 2 more attacks, right? So 1, 2. Now you're going to change your aim onto one of the small wolves. So auto, and then mash a Q. Boom. That's your first grave, okay? Now, aim the big one to the death. Once the big one dies, you can just Q the small wolf. Boom. Okay. Now, here's the first part where things are going to change a little bit. So you're going to E, okay? Now, what I want you to focus on here is notice I don't do this. Notice how I don't run straight into the camp. Instead, what you want to do is run away and then run into the camp. The reason for this is that when this camp here dies, we ideally want it to leave a grave that we can then E onto this camp to leave 4 ghouls total, okay? That won't work if you keep the camp there because the range is too far. So what you want to do is you want to at least make it so it kites the camp out. So you see we wait. Bonus points if you can get it to go in the bush, because then you're protected for an invade. Once you're eating it, you can just auto it to death and just smite it whenever you're comfortable. Just don't eat it, okay? Don't eat it, whatever you do. All right, now you can let the ghouls finish it off, eat it straight away and run, okay? You can see that's far enough range for it to jump. Now that camp there will die, okay? You don't have to worry about that camp anymore. You can always tell how good your clear is going based off where you intersect with this minion wave, okay? So if you match the second minion, your clear is going pretty good. That's a pretty solid clear. You're looking at about 220 to 223 and you've done a pretty good job. Fastest I've ever done was 219 and it was, like, I'll never get it again. That was just nuts. I don't know how I did that. Now the next thing to note here is that I E early. Now the reason I E early here is actually because it lets your third E cooldown come in time for when these ghouls meet so that you can E the red buff, okay? So if you pay attention to my E cooldown, you'll see that it actually goes off when my ghouls are arriving. So after you've hit the E, aim one of the small ones and leave a grave. Then aim the rest of them. You can use your E here and you can raise a ghoul, okay? Just make sure, and I'm going to go back over this bit, make sure before your E expires here, you attack the big wolf, okay? The big raptor, okay? I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you exactly why. So you're going to see I E here. And you're going to see I'm aiming the little raptors here, okay? Now, you see where this ghoul here is attacking? This one here is actually attacking this raptor, okay? Now, if you don't know already, the way Yorick's ghouls work is when you attack a jungle monster, they get told to attack something. It's not attack that, it's attack something. That's why if you've ever seen a funny little bug, if you attack the scuttle crab and you're close enough to the dragon pit, sometimes the ghouls will go and attack the dragon. It's because they don't get told to attack what Yorick's attacking. They get told to attack anything, all right? So what's happened here is I've raised ghouls, I've attacked, and Yorick's ghouls have gone, fuck it, I'm just going to hit this thing here. But we don't want that. We want them to aim what we want them to aim, okay? So, people don't realize this, and I didn't realize this until recently. If you E and then attack, Yorick's ghouls actually follow what Yorick attacks, right? So you can see, as soon as I hit the big raptor here, these ghouls are now changing their targets onto the big raptor, and that's what we want. Because the jungle item is now ticking. This burn damage is ticking. Now, if you actually look at the health of all these small raptors, they're going to die to the burn damage. We don't need the ghouls to attack the small raptors. We just need to get this big raptor down as fast as possible. So generally what you do is, after you raise the second ghoul, just aim the big one. You can see they all drop. There's our fourth grave, our second and third grave. Sorry, first and second, what am I talking about? And this is timing out well. You can see my E cooldown is back. You look at the minimap, my ghouls are on their way back from the Gromp buff. And now we can E and run. And as long as you stay out of range of these ghouls, they're all going to jump, okay? Now, the reason this works is because there's a check range for how many ghouls Yorick can have. This check range is a big circle that goes around Yorick. It goes like this, like that, right? Pretend this is a perfect circle, right? Now, it uses Yorick as the center of the radius. And if Maiden was out, it also has a check range around her, okay? Now, if there are any ghouls outside of this check range, it doesn't count towards Yorick's cap. So right now, the game is going, there must be only 4 ghouls inside of these 2 zones. If they clash, it kills off whatever is the furthest range ghoul, okay? So that's why, if you actually look at where these ghouls are, if you put a check range around Yorick right now, this is now over here, you can see right now, all these graves, all these ghouls are outside of Yorick's range. That's why they're not dying. It's because they're outside of Yorick's check range. And that's why this clear works so well. Now, with this timing, you should ideally be able to get to their buff, their blue buff, at 3 minutes on the nose. You should be able to see their blue buff at 3 minutes. That is perfect time for you to be able to smite still their blue. You can also do it in a mid gank like I do here, or you can gank bot lane if you want to dive bot. But ideally, that's what happens. Now, if something goes wrong, and let's say, for example, you E the red, and let's say you don't get out of range in time. Let's say this camp, these minions come from up here, and let's say one dies. So I'm going to give you 2 timestamps here, which are going to be relevant for you. So these ghouls will kill the red buff at, depending on how many ghouls you have. If you have 7 ghouls on the red buff, like right now, that will die at 3 minutes 10. It's pretty much always every time. If you have 6 ghouls at the red buff, it will die at 3:15. Okay? So you can use that knowledge, and you can then know if you're fighting in their jungle, you know your ghouls will come to you very, very quickly. 3:10 is really quick, and you will always get 4 ghouls in the jungle coming back to you after they finish the red buff. So it's pretty important to remember that. Very important to remember that. Now, the most important thing I can tell you, no matter what, is don't die. You see in this game here, I actually go for an invade on their blue buff, right? Most important thing here is don't die, because what happens is if you die, your ghouls die. If your ghouls haven't finished that camp yet, they will die. You won't get the red buff. You will be starting without any ghouls, without a red. You'll be a camp down, he'll be a camp up. The worst thing you can do is die. Whenever you're doing this, just don't die, whatever you do. Okay, so for the second version of this clear, you're going to do the exact same thing, except second, we're going to go to the Gromp instead of the blue. This clear is much safer, but it's significantly harder. And when I mean it's harder, I mean I've tried to record this video twice already and it's struggling. So you're going to auto queue it. You're going to do the exact same thing as the first clear. Auto queue it again. We're going to kite these wolves up, but we're not going to kite them up too far. We want to keep the graves around here, okay? Switch to the small one. There we go. Make sure it doesn't reset on us. Auto, auto. There we go. Now we're going to E this. Once we E it, we're going to walk down, raise them with Q, and then walk back to the buff. Once its aggro is on you, don't move, okay? And we don't smite this. We keep it exactly as it is. Now you can E this. Nothing wrong with Eing this. You can auto queue it. Now you're going to hit this, and you're going to walk into the bush. The reason for this is it pulls it into the bush. Now, this is a pretty safe clear, and you can smite that and you can run. Now, the reason this is so safe is because now if the enemy jungle comes in, they can't see it being taken because it's hidden by the bush. Now, when I say this is a hard clear, I mean this is really hard to replicate. You can E this straight away like the other one. You can auto Q. The only difference is with this clear, it's going to be much faster when you take the raptors. As you can see, we're going to hit that, auto Q, and we're going to E this, and we're going to run. If you leave one, it's absolutely fine. Don't stress too much, and you can see everyone's jumping. Now, the other clear we got to there blew it 3 minutes. You can see around about 2 seconds slower. Now, for your third clear, if you're ever starting red side, so red buff area, it's actually better to start at the red buff. Let's assume you don't get a leash, start at the red and get E. And there's a reason for that. And it actually comes down to what we talked about in the first clear with how you can let ghouls finish the camps off. So, whenever you do this, you want to stay here, start with your E, and just hit it as soon as it comes out and kite it down. The clear is going to be red into Krugs, into Raptors. So what we're going to do is we're going to kite this down as much as we can. You're going to smite this red as well. Now this isn't a quick clear. I'm not telling you this is quick at all because it's not a quick clear. This is actually a very slow clear. The other clear is much faster. But there's situations and there's scenarios where you will have to start at this side. So that's what this part of the video is for. So you're going to hit this until it gets low enough. And then you're going to cue this one. Cool. There you go. Get this as low as you can. And then you're going to E it and run away. So don't look for an extra grave here. I actually messed up an auto reset there, but it's not going to make a difference. Perfect. You hit all 4. If you can hit all 4 consistently, you're a better Yorick than I am because I miss them all the time. And it is a pain in the ass. Now hit each of them once. Each of them once of the little ones. Now you're going to E the big one. Cue the small one and attack the big one. Make sure you attack the big one before you run because it tells all your ghouls to attack the big one. And you can see the jungle item is going to kill all the mini ones. Now you can take the rest like normal. There's literally no difference in the way you do the rest of the clear. It's just a standard full clear for your bottom side. I haven't worked out a way to do any kind of like little nice tricky clear. Remember, you can leave your ghouls to finish the camps. And just keep pathing your way up. Now this clear, you're probably going to get about a 310, 315, no, well, not 310 at all, no way. If you smite, maybe 310. I'd be very surprised if you got a 310 clear. I think it'll be more about 315 full clear. You can see it's slow. It's a very, very slow clear. With smite, you're looking at 315, 317. But hey, that's not bad. That's still pretty good compared to other junglers. I haven't worked out a way to do any kind of invading for the top side, but we'll see. I'll keep experimenting and I'll keep you guys up to date. Anyway, thank you for watching that one, guys. I really appreciate it. I did put a little bit of work into this one here, even though you can see my editing skills are pretty average, but I appreciate you coming by. I appreciate you watching. I've got a Discord link in the description. I've also got my YouTube and Twitch link. And if you want to come by, say hello, please feel free. I'll try live stream soon and I'm going to keep pumping out content. So keep watching and I'll see you guys on the next one.